This is like my 10th attempt. Am I live now? Am I live now? Wakaranai, imi wakaranai, imi wakaranai. I don't know if I'm live. Am I live? Wakaranai. Am I live? Am I live? Wakaranai. Oh. Yes, I'm live. Finally. Okay. Let me just see. Is this real time? Okay, this is real time. So, hello everyone. Sorry for the delay. I've been trying like 10 times just to stream. I don't know what's happening. My phone is out of storage. I uninstalled like 5 apps in order for me to do a live. I don't know what's wrong with my phone, but at least we're live now. Hello 3 viewers. Thank you very much for patiently waiting. I am now here, and today we're going to review a very special anime, which is ta-da! Dr. Stone. So, warning, stream may contain Dr. Stone spoilers because I'll be stating all his achievements and all the milestones he unlocked throughout the anime. So I'll be reviewing Dr. Stone Season 1 until episode 20 by Taurus Flight. Hello! Hi Tanchikon! Hello! Hello Taurus Flight! Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're having a very great evening or morning if you're in the States. So, let's go start. I actually prepared like a roadmap, like a brainstorm of what to discuss because this anime is very, very good. My sister and I both like this anime, so I decided as an aspiring aspiring scientist, I should do a proper review for this anime. This is my first review, by the way. So, this is the rough sketch of what I'm going to discuss for today. So hopefully I will never go on tangent because wow, I have so many things I really want to share with you all. So thank you for 5 viewers earlier. Now it's 3 again. I'm so sorry if I continue on blabbering. So if you have similar experiences, feel free to share it to the chat because I'll be gladly reading all your comments. So let's go on to the first part of this review, which are the characters. So, so before I go to the characters, I go try to summarize the premise. So I'm gonna give you the premise of this anime. So this anime, basically, I do you want spoilers or do you want me to just explain it vaguely? Okay, so the anime starts off with Taiju trying to confess to his love Yuzuriha. So it's like oh shoujo is vibe on the first episode, but this is actually a shonen anime. So he's trying to confess to this girl, and he has a friend named Senku, who is a scientist. Okay, so before he got to confess to Yuzuriha, a green a green beam suddenly was seen, and that beam turned all humans into stone. Okay, so all the humans were petrified because of that mysterious beam. And then they were all petrified for 3,700 years. That's a lot of time. So for several millennia, these people were petrified. So they were unpetrified because of a miracle fluid. We call it a miracle fluid, but I will be explaining the chemistry behind the miracle fluid later on. So they were unpetrified because of this mixture of nitric acid and alcohol. So the first human that was unpetrified was can you guess? It's Senku because he was he was counting the number of seconds that he was petrified. So he was conscious all the time, all those 3,700 years that he was petrified, and he was counting the seconds in order for him to be unpetrified at a desirable climate. For example, season. So there are 4 seasons, right? So he wants to be unpetrified at spring, not at winter, because it will be harder to survive in the winter. So this character Senku is really big brain, has really a big brain. So in order to account for the 3,700 years, he has to count the number of seconds. So in here, you have to multiply 3,700. So let's try it. Where's my, don't know where I put my calculator. Where's my calculator? I don't know where this. Where you calculate? Oh no, I'm not as big brain as Senku, but where's my calculator? No. Oh, there you go. It's camouflaged. So it's here. My calculator, Casio. So let's account for the number of seconds he has to count in order to reach 3,700 years. So 3,700 years times there are 365 days in a year, and then we account for the 24 hours in a day, and then 60 minutes for 1 hour, and then 60 seconds for 1 minute. So that will be 1.166832 times 10 to the 11th power. So that's like 116 trillion 683 billion. Oh, 116,683,200,000 seconds. Wait. 1, 2, 3 times 10 to the 11. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 5 zeros here. 3, 3, 3. I'm not sure about the million trillion. Let me just calculate it again. Sorry, I'm messy. I'm this messy. Okay, so it says here 3,700 times 365 times 24 times 60 times 60. I'm trying to count the number of seconds he has to count. So this is just a small feat in comparison to what he did. So this is 1.166832 times 10 to the 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this is 1,000 million billion. So he has to count 116,683,200,000 seconds in order to account for that, and that's considering leap years as and regular, and not considering like regular years, because there's different number of days per year, and there's a leap year every 4 years. So that's not taking into account those kind of leap years. Hello, how do I pronounce your name? Snanjo. Is alchemy real? Alchemy is a derivative of chemistry. So what other people consider as alchemy is actually chemistry. So in a way, it is real. Arjun Cerbram use Wolfram Alpha instead. Yeah, I could use that, but I'm trying to be like primitive Stone Age like Senku. So I went off tangent there, but yeah, he was able to count that amount of seconds. Hello, 6 viewers, in order to wake up at spring instead of winter. So the first thing that he did was try to survive. Like it's a very funny anime because you can see like those monkeys looking at him like what is this shiny ape doing? So he's like a shiny ape because he's like, he has no hair on his body. He only has hair like this. He has a very weird hair. So he has like this kind of hair. And it reminds me kind of Danganronpa characters. He's like a super duper scientist if he were in Danganronpa. So So he was trying to survive. So what are the necessities of a human? What are the three main necessities? So there are three. So that's food, water, and shelter. And he was able to do that at the first few months. So he was able to obtain mushrooms that are edible, and then he knows which plants are poisonous or not, and which ones are edible, and how to cook them. And then for the clothes, he was able to make clothes. I think his clothes are made up of the deer he caught when he was trying to get food. But because Senku is not physically strong, but he is smart, so he used his knowledge in order of entrapment. So he made a trap in order to catch a deer, and that deer he ate that, and I think his clothes are made of that deer. So his clothes has this icon E equals mc squared, which is the Einstein equation, of course. So I will go deeper into that later. But and in for I really have so much to say. That's why I'm talking like this. So I'm very very excited about this anime. So hello 9 viewers. I think this is the most amount of viewers that I have. So thank you very much for 9 viewers. So continuing with the trying to summarize episode 1. So he was able to acquire those three, and then by shelter he was able to do so, even though he's not as physically fit as this other character Taiju, because he is very diligent. So this is what separates Senku from other smart characters, because Senku tries, and even though he fails, like he tries again in order to have this result that he wants. So Senku has this ideology that science has a process, and once you follow that process, you will ultimately reach your goal. You just have to be persistent and diligent. That's what separates Senku from other smart big brain characters. Hello, I'm sorry. I keep on bubbling. Shadow Decade. Out of chemistry, physics, biology, which do you like the most? I like chemistry the most, and I will be explaining some chemistry behind Dr. Stone stuff later on. Chikara underscore gaming. Oh, cute beret. Thank you very much. I have all colors. I love beret so much. Love PSK, he wrote E equals MC squared using his blood. Yes, he used his own blood to write that E equals iconic E equals MC squared on his own costume. Snanjo, show all berets. On my next live, I will be wearing another color, so watch out for that. So continuing on, so he was able to get food, and then clothing, and then shelter. And then what did he do next? Because he's having struggles, because he's just brain character, not so much of a brawn character. So he needs a strong person. So who's the first person that he thought of? He saw like an arm like this that's like trapped in soil. So he was able to dig it up, and turns out it was Taiju. So he discovered that the nitric acid from guano, which is the bat's droppings, has something to do with the depetrification process. So what he did was, of course, collect the nitric acid from the cave where the bats are, and then pour it over Taiju's petrified body. Oh, but it doesn't work. So he was able to collect all the shards that were from his depetrified body and tried to examine it, as well as the swallows that were petrified. So he was doing experiments after experiments in order to create this miracle fluid that could depetrify these people. So Taiju was he dragged Taiju's body into the cave until Taiju was depetrified using, I don't know, willpower, because what separated Dr. Stone Senku from other characters, or from other humans in that world, was he was able to think throughout, even though he was petrified, right? So his thinking process has a mechanism and has a reaction going that triggered the nitric acid and this this alcohol combined, and it triggered the depetrification for him. So I think Taiju was doing the same. He was thinking of confessing his love to Yuzuriha, and through that and his willpower, he was depetrified. So after 6 months or half a year, he was able to depetrify Taiju. So now we have a brain character and a bronze character. This is very nice. So Taiju was a great help to Senku because he is able to carry stuff that Senku couldn't, and he is able to do a lot of stuff that requires strength that Senku wasn't initially able to do. So, Taiju was very excited, and he saw that Senku made a laboratory as well as a house made out of wood and other stuff that he collected. So, what is Taiju's main goal? He tried to find Yuzuriha, that girl that she tried to confess to 3,700 years ago. Imagine that kind of love. Imagine that kind of love that won't die even after 3,700 years. Oh my. My man Senku. My man Taiju rather. So, yeah, I salute Senku, and I also salute Taiju for for that kind of love. Okay, so they're both persistent but in a different kind of ways. So, uh, let me just read all the comments. Chikara_gaming. We have to watch all her streams to see her beret collection. Tonking. Love PSK. Taiju! Yeah, we all love the characters from Doctors. Dandechi. Hi, hello. Welcome to my stream. Today I'm reviewing Doctor Stone. So I have just finished the premise of the anime. So now I'll be talking about the characters. sorry, I told you before that I'm going to talk about the characters before the premise, but that's not the point. So characters now. So we have Big Brain Senku, of course, he's the protagonist of this story, and then we have Taiju and Yuzuriha. I will not spoil anything, but I don't know if I could spoil. Have you guys watched the anime? I don't know if I can deeply like dive into this, but I wrote this sign, so technically I should be able to talk about these characters, right? So Yuzuriha was depetrified on episode 3, I guess. Yeah, episode 3. I think they were trying to depetrify Yuzuriha, but ended up depetrifying this character called Tsukasa, and he is the strongest. I don't know his nickname, like strongest primate in strongest high school primate or something like that. So this character Tsukasa is very 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 strong. So think about. So I will be spoiling, of course. We have this sign here. So if you haven't watched the anime, please turn off the stream. Watch this later. Bye bye. Okay, so I will be spoiling. So they were surrounded by lions when they were trying to depetrify Yuzuriha. So what they did was depetrify Tsukasa in order to fight off the lions, because they know that this character is very very strong. So he indeed is very strong. He was able to kill a lion with one punch. Oh, one punch man. So this Tsukasa very very strong. So it's a big brain idea to depetrify Tsukasa because it's a life or death situation in that case. So next person that they will try to depetrify now would be Yuzuriha, because of course they need women. They need women in order to proceed with civilization. So but this Tsukasa guy, okay, there's a problem with this Tsukasa guy. So he has this ideology that only the young should be depetrified, because people who aren't young have a corrupt mind. That's his philosophy. So what he's trying to do is to kill all those people who have a corrupt mind and just start a new age where it is only made up of youth who have pure hearts. Hence, Tsukasa doesn't like technology and any advancement in technology, because he believes people will only use it for bad and to gain control over other people. Love PSK. I binged the anime, finished it in 2 days. Oh, I haven't even finished it. I'm only on episode 20. Thank you very much for streaming it because I announced on Twitter beforehand, before streaming it here, that I'm going to review this anime. So thank you, Love PSK, for streaming it in order for you to relate to this live stream. So, moving on. So, what do you think about Tsukasa's ideology? Do you agree with him? Do you agree that only the youth should be depetrified and the old people have corrupt minds and will only use technology for bad things? Do you agree with him or not? Let me see in the comments. Because Senku's philosophy, this is what Senku's philosophy is. He wants to save everyone, all of humanity. So he wants to start a civilization with the use of science and technology, and he wants to use technology for improvement and to build a civilization. So that's what the clashing ideologies of our protagonist and antagonist are. Senku wants to save everyone. Yay, 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 civilization. Yay, technology. But Tsukasa's like, no technology, only save the youth. So, both ideologies are hard to accomplish because if we abide by Senku's ideology that everyone should be saved, it really depends. It's really subjective because what if there's like a mass murderer or a serial killer that you try to depetrify, right? Right? Senku and Byakuya's ideology. Yes, love, heart. Love PSK. Yes. So by the way, if you don't know who Byakuya is Senku's, should I spoil? Okay, spoiler alert, adoptive father. So Byakuya is an astronaut, I would say a scientist, astronaut. So he passed the astronaut exam to go to space in order to be an inspiration to Senku, and he has his own goal. So his goal is to go to space, and Senku was the driving force for him to go to space. But when he went to space, the petrification process happened, and he was one of the 6 people remaining that weren't petrified because they were on space when that happened. Spoiler. So Byakuya was able to create Byakuya and the other 5 were able to create this, how do I call it, like family. I would say family, community. This community that would go on to live for 3,700 years, and their village would be called the Ishikami village, which is their surname. So technically all those people in the village that Senku met is a descendant of, I don't know if Byakuya has a descendant on that case, but it's a descendant of the Ishikami village. Okay, on to the next part. I want to be explaining the science parts now. So let's see here if I can explain some chemistry stuff. So first things first, the most important fluid or most important thing in the series is the miracle fluid. So what is the miracle fluid? So when Yuzuriha was captured by Tsukasa, our protagonist Senku was able to say the formula for the liquid, which is 30% nitric acid and 70% alcohol. In order to create that, you can acquire the alcohol from fermenting grapes, and then the nitric acid would be coming from the guano from the cave. So I will be explaining the science behind the nitric acid and the alcohol. So first things first, how do you create alcohol? So our formula for our most common alcohol is ethanol, which is C2H5OH, aqueous. So how do you produce this? So our reaction for this would be I'm writing. Let me write that down. So our main reaction would be C6H12O6. Do you know what C6H12O6 is? Comment comment down if you know what it is. C2H5OH, that's ethanol. I will be putting their state. So, ta-da! I don't know if you can see it, but my handwriting's a mess. So C6H12O6 is actually sugar or starch from the grapes. That's why grapes are essential in making alcohol. So C6H12O6 aqueous will yield 2C2H5OH aqueous, which is the ethanol, which is an alcohol, plus 2CO2 aqueous. So how do we get to this? So we have these special organisms called the yeast. Yeast has those organisms that would eat the starch from the grapes and will produce alcohol in the process and carbon dioxide, because of course they're living organisms. And then from there we have several other compounds that are other products, so extra products from this kind of fermentation. So we have ester, which are the aromatic compounds. These ones contribute to the fruity, citrus odor or floral odor of the wine. And then tannins, which contributes to the feel of the wine. If who there are wine enthusiasts, I'm talking about wine now, and this is, by the way, copyright of Two Hawk by Chris Russell. So moving on, other products of fermentation yield acetaldehyde. The yeast create this kind of product and also contributes to the mouthfeel of the wine. Also anthocyanins, which contributes to the color and antioxidative properties of the wine. Sulfite, this is the product that is produced but also battles microbial spoilage. And amino acids. So N containing yeast eat these to live and reproduce. So N meaning nitrogen. So those amino acids has nitrogen containing yeast. So it will be their main goal to live, main goal to eat it in order to live and to reproduce. So that is how you make wine, and those are the other products of wine. So actually you can make wine at home, but in Japan it's actually prohibited according to the anime, making homemade wine. So if you do that in your advanced biology and research subject, or in MBB, microbiology and biotechnology subjects, that's good for you. And yeah, moving on. So we have the first ingredient done, the alcohol. Now we will proceed to the nitric acid. The nitric acid is from the guano, which is bats droppings. Okay, so guano is mainly used as fertilizer. So if you notice in your fertilizers, you have 3 numbers, right? So those 3 numbers correspond to chemical properties it contains. So the first number in your fertilizer would be nitrogen. The second will be the phosphate content, which is the P2O5 content, and the last number is the potash or the potassium content of your fertilizer. So see here, guano is used as fertilizer. Why? Because it has nitrogen rich droppings. Nitrogen rich droppings. So these nitrogen, so it's very rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. And this nitrogen and phosphorus over time evolves because of reactions to nitric acid and phosphoric acid, and it actually shapes caves. So you know why caves have unique shapes? It's also because of bats droppings that contributes to the creation of these kinds of acids. So that could cause the erosion of the rocks or the soil inside the cave. Big brain move. Okay, so moving on, moving on, moving on. So acid, acid, acid. So the that's the process of making the acid. It's because the microorganisms on the floor of the cave eat the nitrogen and the phosphorus. Hence, we're making this kind of acids, and therefore this kind of fluid. So what Senko did here was to put them in clay pot. So this is one error in the anime, I would say, because nitric acid is one of the most reactive acids. So if you put it in a clay pot, it would react. So later on in the series, they made glass in order to make the sulfa drug, which is the antibiotic. That's very, very nice because in order to create a substance that not react to anything on the on anything on it touches, it has to be on the glass. That's why chemists use drug and pharmaceutical companies use glasses, because the reactivity, acids are highly reactive. Once they react, it will not go to their previous form. Okay, so once they react or dissociate, they would be this kind of product that you don't want, okay. So that's one of the, I don't know, irregularity that I noticed on the anime. So glass should be like the first thing you want to acquire in order to have chemical reactions that you want. So yeah, aside from that, nitric acid and phosphoric acid is the component of the guano. So how are you sure that it's just nitric acid? He told Tsukasa that it has to be exact ratio, 3:7 exact ratio. But how would you know that if you don't have a product that's pure? Purity is very, very important in chemistry. Dairy Dairy Boy 141. How old are you? I am now 22 years old. 22 2. So I'm talking about the chemistry of Dr. Stone anyway. So yeah, but on the reviews that I see on this anime, they say it's pretending to be a scientific anime. It's really not science. So I think what this anime wants to show is to motivate its audience, its viewers to be interested in science. It's not a science per se show, right? It's not exact science. It only show the roadway or the pathway that you have to follow in order to create this specific stuff. It doesn't really say how much and the proper steps, like the specific steps that you're going to follow, because of course some of these chemical reactions are explosive, especially nitric acid and alcohol. It could actually create explosives. So there are no explosions happening in his laboratory. I think aside from one reaction, but I forgot that reaction. But yeah, it motivates the viewers, the young viewers, to be interested in the field of science, chemistry, and physics, but not to educate them per se on the specific reactions or specific processes involved in science. These are just like trivias, but not specific stuff, right? Because if you want to watch an educational science show, just watch a lecture, just watch a college lecture, or watch a documentary, a scientific documentary. There you go. Science anime, science anime. So this is a shonen anime that really wants to let people enjoy science. And as an aspiring scientist, I really enjoy the show because I could see how these traits of Senku is helpful to him in terms of the scientific pursuit of civilization. Because Senku is not just smart, he is diligent, hardworking, and sometimes he's just cocky, and yeah, 10 billion%, 10 billion%. But he's very reliable. He's very reliable because he relies on science, and he trusts the process of science. once you do this step, you're sure to acquire this step. So that's what Senku's ideology is. He trusts the process so much that he is 10 billion percent what he thinks will happen will happen. By Chikara underscore gaming. How many episodes are there? There are actually 24 episodes on the first season. I'm watching it on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, you can go ahead and watch this anime. I highly, 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 highly recommend it. By Asanhak11. Wow, you can speak English. Yes, I could speak English. I'm trying to speak in English like now I can speak in English now. Like in on this Twitch stream because I'm guessing um, majority of the viewers knows how to speak English, and in order to be inclusive, I don't want to speak in like Tagalog or in Japanese because other people may not understand. So we're speaking in English here so that we can include all people, all audience. I welcome you all. Welcome, 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 welcome to Tanchikon stream. Okay, now on to the other part of my lecture. lecture. Yeah, on to my other part of the lecture. So, why are these chemical components important? Why am I telling you these? Because I want you to be informed of the uses as well as the dangers of chemicals. Because as someone with a background in chemistry, I know the specifics of these chemicals, and I want you to be able to use this knowledge for your everyday life. For example, in your house you have acids and bases, right? So we have strong acids such as the perchloric acid, sulfuric acid, hydrogen iodide, hydrogen bromide, hydrogen chloride, and the nitric acid, which is mentioned on the anime. So these acids are highly, 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 highly reactive, and they have strong ionization in when water is put onto them. So they could ionize well, therefore they are more dangerous. And in this context, I would say they are corrosive when they touch your skin because your skin your skin naturally has water, like we have sweat glands. So if you have acid here and it poured onto your skin, it will be corrosive. It will be like psh. So it's very, very dangerous, right? So that acid, you should be very careful, and you should label your acids and strong bases on your home. So it is indicated by what we call the MSDS, or what is called the Material Safety Data Sheet. So a Material Safety Data Sheet would look like this. Let me just draw it. It's triangular. So I'm just trying to draw. I'm trying to draw it. So on your it kind of look like this. So on your dangerous acid, on the container of the dangerous acid, it would contain something like this. So for example, for hydrochloric acid, we have 302. So what do these numbers indicate? These numbers indicate the health hazard for the leftmost number, and then this one is the fire hazard. So the uppermost is the fire hazard, and then the rightmost would be the reactivity. And then if they have specific hazards, it will be written on this tiny diamond here. So what are other specific hazards? So for example, if you put water on a chemical, it would be explosive. So it will be put W here. So be very, very, very careful of chemicals. Don't play with them. Please don't play with chemicals. So also, if you see someone trying to purchase these chemicals, be very wary of them. For example, someone purchasing fertilizer and then purchasing this kind of acid, but he is purchasing it on large amounts. Be very, very careful because it could be used to make explosives, which are happening right now. Kinda happening right now in the world, because some people have really, really bad intentions. These chemicals should be used only for good, only for benefits, not to hurt other people. So be very wary of those kinds of person, and yeah, be very careful yourself in handling this kind of dangerous chemicals. So I'm really lecturing you guys about chemistry and chemicals. It's really fun. So aside from that, we're going to discuss the other the other stuff in Doctor Stone. I'm really going on tangent here because I really want to discuss a lot about chemistry. This show has parts on chemistry, physics, pharmaceutical, crafting, and then cooking. Because cooking is also a science. I would say cooking is both a science and an art because if you ask a scientist to cook, hey, can you cook me a cake? Can you bake me a cake? If you ask a scientist that, for sure he or she would be able to bake a cake. Why? Because there are steps on how to bake a cake, and that's what scientists are good at. They're good at following directions on the dot. So if it says here that you need 3 cups of flour or something like that, of course the scientist would be able to do that, right? So yeah, we're very very information information driven, and we're very very specific about the measurements. So for example, we're asked to get 0.001 gram of this kind of chemical which is in solid form. Of course we would use an analytical balance to do that, and we would make sure that it's 0.001 or 0.0009, something like that, 9999 or something like that, something very very close, because our results would really depend on our initial products, right? So if you try to synthesize something and you have the wrong amount of materials that you try to synthesize it from, of course your product purity would be bad. It would change because of that kind of mistake. So of course scientists, when you ask them to make something, they would follow the instructions. And what separates scientists from chefs? Well, chefs are craftsmen, right? They have these years of experience perfecting this kind of technique to create this food, and something like food plating or something that involves like wok, like you have to have like muscles for wok, right? So that's what separates um, cooking as a science and cooking as an art. So in the series, Dr. Stone created what food? Do you know? Oh, says here, Chikara underscore gaming. I'll watch it after I finish My Hero Academia season 4. I haven't watched My Hero Academia yet, so maybe I could watch that next. Says here, as an hack 11, how many languages you know? Technically, I know about more than 2, about 3 languages, but I'm not very very fluent at it. About 4, I would say 4, but not very very fluent. As an hack 11, you're Japanese. I'm actually not Japanese. I am Filipino. My mother and father are both Filipino, but I was born in Japan. That's why my name. That's why my name is my name. Chikara underscore gaming. I love listening to people talking about things they are very interested in. It's so fun to see them get excited. Am I like that? Yes, I'm very very excited when I talk about specifically about chemistry. I love chemistry and I love science, and I hope people would have the same drive as me, the same interest as me, because yeah, science is amazing. Science is an art. Science. Like whenever Senku does something in the series, I would say, yes, science. That's science. And yeah, sometimes Senku would say this. Okay, sometimes Senku would say this reaction happened because the 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 process is called the dude, and I would say it beforehand, and I would turn out to be right, and wow, that's one of the most satisfying feelings when you watch that anime. So moving on, I would so I am done, kind of done, kind of done discussing about the chemistry of the series, because Senku is very 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 much interested in the field of physics. So Senku has mentioned Edison as well as Einstein. Einstein is actually literally on his shirt because those scientists are his inspirations on inventing these kinds of inventions. So when he was a kid, he was actually able to make a rocket, a rocket that has occupants flown into space. It's very very amazing. So yeah, Senku is very hardworking. So what what's very amazing about Senku is that he does not give up easily. So even after many many failed trials, he would try to pursue what he really wants in order to get the desired result, and it's very very salute worthy, salute worthy. So says here, Senku has knowledge in physics, so he has actually contracted a lot of devices throughout the series. I'm not gonna enumerate them one by one, just watch the series and see how good Senku is when it comes to designing machineries that could help them, especially the ones that provide energy. And yeah, and it's not one another one of a desirable characteristic of Senku is that he does not hug all the credit. Like, I'm very very smart, credit all belongs to me, all belongs to me. Yeah, Senku actually gives credit to people who actually work hard in order to achieve this kind of device. For example, for the water wheel, Chrome and Mr. Kaseki were the ones who did that. So Chrome is the village sorcerer scientist, and Mr. Kaseki is the village craftsman who has very strong body and years of experience. So I think it's 60 years of experience, and they were able to create this water wheel without Senku's advice. So they were like, what if we make energy from the stream transformed into energy that could be used and could not energy that is not created manually, so that we could save manpower. So this is what Chrome and Mr. Kaseki did. Very very wise characters. So yep, they are very nice, and Senku did not hug all the credit. He properly credited Chrome and Mr. Kaseki for inventing the water wheel, and he further developed that water wheel into a hydro plant, hydro power plant that could provide energy for all the villagers. So very very smart anime. Yeah, and it's nice that they have this kind of dynamic. All the characters in this series have a purpose. They're not just like even the side characters don't feel like side characters. They each all have their jobs and their tasks that they are assigned to, and they do it diligently aside from a few lazy characters. So the characters in this series are Senku, Taiju, and Yuzuriha, the ones that I have mentioned earlier. And then we have Tsukasa, the antagonist. And then we have Chrome. Chrome is the village scientist or sorcerer. Kohaku and Druri are sisters. They are the daughters of the village chief by the time that Senko arrived, but Senko became the village chief later on. And then we have Kinro and Ginro, which are brothers. They are the guards of they guard the bridge that connects the outside world to the village. And their name respectfully stands for silver and gold. And it's funny that Senku was able to create gold spear for Kinro because Kinro means gold. He likes it very much. He's just tsundere about it. And then we have Gen. Okay, I will talk about Gen because he's this character who is a fake magician according to Senku, but he's actually a mentalist who has published a lot of books. So these characters, very smart. They're smart on their own way because Senku is smart when it comes to physics and chemistry and all the science stuff that the previous civilization was able to think of by that time. And then we have Chrome. Chrome collects rocks. Chrome collects rocks as and he has this natural curiosity about science and the world around him. So by the time that Senko arrived at the village, Chrome was able to know the flame reaction test, because once you put chemicals of flame, they would correspond to different colors. So Chrome has an idea about that. So Senko told Chrome that when Sukasa sees you, he's gonna kill you, because he has an idea of science and how to use this knowledge to something practical. So that's what science is. You use your knowledge to improve, to evolve the way you see things around you, and to make things around you easier, especially with the inventions of the machines. What are simple machines? Can anyone tell me what are simple machines? Simple machines purpose is to minimize work. So he actually Senko actually has like invented machines throughout the series. So I'm in my mind I would think of the pulley he used to pull Kohaku out of the tree that Tsukasa punched. So yeah, he was able to make a pulley, and then out of those wheels he was able to make a trolley, so a push cart trolley, in order to transport the water jug for Ruri's bath. Ruri's bath. Yeah, because Ruri is sick. So Kohaku, her sister, uh, daily daily gets water from the hot spring in order for Ruri to bathe on, because it's clean, and that's what actually make Ruri live for 18 years despite her, spoiler alert, pneumonia. Atlas underscore Onyx. Hello. Hello there. Thank you very much for watching me blabber on about science and Dr. Stone. So this is this is not like a Dr. Stone review per se. This is like me discussing science randomly. So thank you very much for watching this so far. My 5 very diligent viewers, as Senku. How's it going? Yeah, I'm just blabbering out about anime and science here. How amazing science is, and how good Doctor Stone anime is. So moving on, we're going to talk about this Gen character, because this Gen is like a bat. He is a double-edged sword, because he acts as a spy from Tsukasa's empire, but at the same time, Senku tried to get Gen onto his side in order to use counter information. Like he used Gen to feed Tsukasa wrong information. For example, about his death, which I will not I will not spoil further. I really want to talk about this anime, but at the same time I don't want to spoil my viewers about the amazing plot this anime has. So yeah, science wise, it's not very accurate, but it triggers this curiosity in the viewers. So yeah, Gen is a very likable character. My sister and I both like him, because he's a very complicated character, and he knows how others think. So he's this kind of mentalist that can manipulate people into doing whatever he likes. So for me, it would fall onto the category of psychology. So the science of psychology, in his case, the science of manipulation. So making people think what you want them to think, and therefore do what they want. What you want them to do. Alright. So aside from these amazing characters who work together, I will be enumerating what they did in the anime, such as the 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 creation of this food that Senku has eaten in his past, like past 3,700 years. So these villagers have no concept of, for example, storing food, and these villagers only has this concept of grilling fish, grilling meat, and therefore it would taste bland even with salt, because if you eat that every day, of course you're gonna get tired of it. Love diminishing utility, economics. So moving on. So Senko has this big brain idea of creating different food, and this food he acquired materials for. So I will not say what the ingredients are and what the food is in order for the spoiler. No spoiler, no spoiler. So yeah, he acquired these materials and ingredients in order to create this food, and yeah, in order to lure the villagers into helping him make this furnace for iron. And yeah, because before energy was invented, they actually manually create energy. Imagine the amount of times you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this like very very rigorous activity, but that's what science is. In order for you to create something, you have to do something in equivalent. Oh, the law of alchemy, Full Metal Alchemist. You have to yeah, you have to sacrifice something in equivalent in order to produce something. That's the same thing. That's the same concept as chemistry and is physics. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one type to another. So before energy from hydraulics was created in that anime, they used mechanical energy of the brothers Kinro and Ginro. Who does things manually, and as well as the villagers they're lured to eat the food so that they could pump the furnace with more manpower. Atas underscore Onyx. What is your native language? My native language is actually, technically it's Japanese because I was born and I stayed for a couple of years in Japan, and then I went to the Philippines, hence I'm more fluent in Filipino. But Philippines official language are both Filipino and English, hence I could speak both. Yeah, we're required to learn English as well. And yeah, sometimes I do showroom. I know a little bit of Japanese but not very conversational, and I couldn't read kanji at all because some of the kanjis are hard. But yeah, those are the languages I know. And in 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 high school I was able to learn French for 2 years, so I can speak a little bit of French, but I cannot guarantee the quality of my French. So moving on, yeah, I really like how amazing the characters are, how unique the plot is, because it's making a civilization. It's like Stone Age but with technology. So it's a very very unique anime with a unique plot and unique and useful characters. That's why it's it's very very good anime. So I will be quoting Senku quotes here. Even if you kill me, even if you kill anyone, even if you reset science, there's always an idiot who will try anything, and the shiny monkeys will inevitably create a technological civilization. Yeah, because there will always be at least one curious person in this world that would think, why does fire exist? Why does water exist? Why does air exist? Why does this happen when I do this? Why not something else? Why does this plant do this? Why does this other plant does not have the same properties as this plant? Why does this soil create an environment for this plant to live, but this other soil doesn't? So it creates a lot of questions, of inquiries in humankind. So that's why humans are naturally curious. That's what's good. That's what good. Huh? That's what good. That's what's good about human, because there will always be at least one person curious about the world, and we're very very thankful to early scientists, to early mathematicians, because without them we wouldn't be enjoying the technology that we have today. Hello 12 viewers. This is the most this is the most number of viewers that I have. Thank you very much. Says here, atas underscore onyx, cool. Just tell me if you're more comfortable with another language and I'll try to speak it for you. Chikara underscore gaming. I wish I could listen to you talk about science more, but I gotta go. I hope you have a great stream. Thank you, Chikara underscore gaming. I hope you have a very, very nice evening and have very nice week ahead. Thank you very much for watching my stream, Chikara underscore gaming. Stay safe. Better eat your lunch. Dinner. Better eat your dinner or your breakfast or your lunch, depending on your time zone. Atas underscore Onyx. It's good that human is curious. Yes. Yes. So yeah, we're very lucky that we live in this age, but because